There's an elf living within each of us, a quiet observer, a steadfast warrior, and a master of inner calm. Today, I'll show you how to awaken it within yourself, so you can master your emotions, build mental resilience, and achieve your goals without unnecessary noise. If you're ready to harness the power of silence and discipline, listen closely. This will change your life forever. Now you know how to awaken the elf within yourself, to stay calm, observe, act with discipline, and strengthen your mental resilience. Every step, every practice makes you stronger and more independent. Don't wait to apply these lessons today. Embrace your inner elf, master your emotions, and become the ruler of your own forest. Rise up and take action. Chapter 1 Awaken the elf. You ever noticed how elves move through the forest? Their steps are silent, their gaze attentive, their breath even. They don't rush into battle first. They observe, they study, they feel the movement of the wind, the rustle of leaves, the slightest shift in the shadows. And only then, only when they fully understand the situation, do they act. Here's the essence. You have a choice. You can react to the world like most people do, with chaos, anger, fear. Or you can act like an elf, calmly, thoughtfully, with inner control. Today, we'll learn how to awaken that elf within you. The power of observation is the first step. An elf doesn't let emotions control them. They notice them before they turn into a destructive force. Recall the last time anger got the better of you. You lost control, said something you didn't mean, or took an action you regretted. That wouldn't have happened if you had observed first. Observed your thoughts. Observed your feelings. Observed the world's reaction around you. The practice is simple. During the day, pause for a few seconds. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why am I reacting this way? This is a key elvish method. Repeat to yourself, calmness is my sword, observation is my shield. Repeat this every time emotions start stirring within you. Notice how the words slow your pulse, how your breathing evens out, how your mind clears. Elves know that approaching the world with calm isn't just philosophy. It's a survival strategy. Even in battle, when blades clash and magic rages, the elf maintains inner peace. They know that impulsive reactions destroy more than any external threat. Here's your practice. Close your eyes for a minute. Take 3 deep breaths. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel your chest expand and slowly contract. With each exhale, repeat to yourself, calmness is my sword, observation is my shield. Do this 3 times in the morning, 3 times at noon, 3 times in the evening. Make it a habit, like an elf preparing for any trial. Now, let's talk about observation. A true elf notices details most people miss. The rustle of the wind signals an approaching enemy. The faintest trembling leaf is a cue for caution. Your emotions are your inner forest. Learn to notice the slightest shifts, irritation, anxiety, fatigue. This isn't weakness, it's discipline. You don't suppress emotions. You observe them, understand them, control them. Here's a concrete exercise. Whenever you feel irritation or anxiety, pause. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is this my reaction or someone else's? Feel the emotion, name it. Only after that, decide how to act. This is how an elf operates. You have a choice. Calmness is your sword. Observation is your shield. Repeat these words until they become part of you. They should echo in your mind in the most intense moments. When someone tries to provoke you, when the world seems chaotic, when a storm rages inside you, only calmness and observation will save you. Elves know another secret. True power comes from inner peace, not external action. You can be surrounded by chaos, but if your inner forest is calm, you are invincible. This is the key to mental resilience. Repeat, calmness is my sword, observation is my shield. Each repetition strengthens your inner fortress. Now let's look at a real example. Imagine you stand in a clearing, an enemy before you. Most people would rush into battle. The elf pauses, notices movements, assesses chances, listens to the forest silence. Their breath is steady. Their mind is clear. They know when to strike and when to wait. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't act under the pressure of the world. You are the master of your inner forest. You can use these methods not only in battle, at work, in relationships, in daily life. Every moment when emotions threaten to take over becomes a test of your elvish discipline. Every calm decision strengthens your resilience. Every observation prevents chaos. This is not about weakness. It's about discipline. Let's make it even more practical. Take a journal. Every evening, write down, what emotions did you notice today? Where did you react impulsively? Where did you stay calm and observe? After a week, you'll notice changes. After a month, you'll feel the elf within you awakening. And every day, repeat, calmness is my sword, observation is my shield. This chapter isn't just about controlling emotions. It's about becoming someone who chooses, not someone who obeys. You have a choice. Don't let chaos rule you. Don't let circumstances dictate your decisions. Practice observation. Practice calmness. Practice discipline. Ultimately, awakening the elf within you isn't magic. It's a choice. Every time you observe your emotions, you choose strength over weakness. Every time you breathe calmly in the midst of chaos, you choose resilience. Every time you act instead of react, you choose mastery over impulse. But this is only the beginning. Awakening the elf is not a one-time event. It is a journey, a path of continuous sharpening, like a blade honed by fire and patience. Each day presents opportunities to practice, to notice, to choose again. Every conversation, every challenge, every quiet moment alone is a chance to step deeper into your elvish nature. The first layer of this awakening is awareness. Awareness is more than noticing your surroundings. It is the conscious acknowledgement of every thought, every emotion, every impulse. Elves do not act blindly. They act with knowledge. When you become aware, you separate yourself from the automatic reactions that rule most of humanity. You see the flow of your mind as clearly as an elf sees the currents of the forest wind. Consider this, in your daily life. How often do you react before understanding? A sudden criticism from a colleague, a stressful traffic jam, a harsh word from a friend. Most people respond immediately, letting their anger, fear, or frustration dictate their words and actions. The elf pauses. The elf observes. The elf lets the emotions rise, acknowledge their presence, and then chooses the response that is measured, intentional, and aligned with purpose. To practice this, begin by creating micro-pauses throughout your day. These are tiny windows of awareness, just 3 to 5 seconds, where you consciously check in with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? What is driving this reaction? You might feel impatience, irritation, desire, or fear. Name it. Own it. Once acknowledged, ask yourself, what would the elf do? This simple practice, repeated consistently, begins to build the neural pathways of calm, deliberate action. The second layer is discipline. Discipline is the sword of the elf. It is not punishment or rigidity. It is the conscious choice to act according to principles rather than impulses. Discipline means showing up for yourself even when it is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or difficult. It is in these moments, while others succumb to distraction, indulgence, or reactive chaos, that the elf within you grows strongest. Begin with small exercises of discipline. Commit to 3 simple actions each day and follow them through, without exception. These could be physical, like exercising or stretching, or mental, such as journaling, meditating, or reviewing your goals. The key is consistency. Just as an elf trains with bow and blade daily, your inner discipline is forged in repetition, habit, and the conscious embrace of effort. Next is emotional mastery. This is perhaps the most subtle and profound skill of the elf. Emotions are like the wild creatures of the forest, powerful, unpredictable, and beautiful, but dangerous if uncontrolled. The elf does not suppress emotion. It observes, understands, and channels it. Anger becomes clarity, fear becomes caution, desire becomes motivation. Your emotions are raw energy. Without control, they destroy. With control, they empower. To cultivate this mastery, practice labeling your emotions in real time. Use a journal or even a mental note. I feel frustration rising because I am concerned about being judged. I feel fear because I am stepping into the unknown. Naming emotions separates you from them. It allows you to see them objectively, to assess their value, and to decide how to act rather than react. The elf also knows the power of environment. Just as a forest can provide shelter or danger depending on how it is navigated, your surroundings, physical, social, and mental, shape your inner state. Curate your environment intentionally. Surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and support growth. Limit exposure to chaos that serves no purpose. Create spaces, even small ones, where calm, reflection, and focus are possible. These are the clearings in your personal forest where the elf can thrive. And then there is strategy, the ability to anticipate, to plan, and to move deliberately. Elves do not charge blindly. They understand the terrain, the strengths and weaknesses of themselves and others, and they choose their battles wisely. In life, this translates to foresight. Consider the long-term consequences of actions before taking them. Plan your responses to recurring challenges. Develop habits that reinforce your goals. Cultivate patience, for impatience leads to mistakes, just as rash action in battle leads to defeat. Now imagine a scenario: a conflict arises at work. A colleague challenges your idea harshly. Your first instinct might be to defend, argue, or retaliate. The elf within you, however, pauses. You observe your rising anger. You assess the colleague's motivations. You consider the long-term impact of your words. And only then do you act, not out of impulse, but out of clarity, precision, and purpose. This is mastery. This is power. Physical awareness and readiness are also part of the elvish path. The body and mind are intertwined. A calm mind requires a trained body. Engage in movement that strengthens, stretches, and harmonizes your physical self. Even simple practices like walking with awareness, holding posture, or controlling breath can dramatically improve mental resilience. The elf walks the forest lightly, but each step is deliberate, each movement controlled. Breath is one of the most potent tools. In moments of stress or chaos, focus on slow, deep breathing. Inhale fully, pause, exhale completely. Count your breaths. Let them anchor you. The breath is a direct connection to inner calm, a bridge between emotion and action, chaos and clarity. This journey is not linear. There will be setbacks. You may lose control, speak impulsively, or feel overwhelmed. This is not failure, it is feedback. The elf learns from every misstep. Reflection and adjustment are essential. After each challenge, review what happened. Ask, what did I notice? How did I respond? What could I have done differently? This self-assessment builds wisdom over time, like layers of bark forming strength against storms. In addition, the elf practices gratitude. The forest is full of beauty, even in darkness. Life, even in chaos, offers lessons, joy, and moments of awe. By consciously noticing and appreciating these moments, you cultivate perspective. Gratitude tempers frustration, reduces reactivity, and strengthens the capacity for patience. Every morning, note 3 things you are grateful for. Every evening, reflect on what went well and what you learned. These rituals create mental armor and reinforce resilience. Stories and myths of elves teach another vital principle: long-term vision. Elves think in centuries, seasons, and generations. Your life, like the forest, has cycles. Small actions compound over time. Patience, persistence, and foresight produce results far beyond immediate gratification. Understand that each moment of calm, each act of discipline, each instance of thoughtful action adds to a life built on mastery rather than chaos. Silence is not passive, it is a space of power. In the quiet, you hear the subtle movements of your mind and the whispers of your intuition. The elf knows that the answers to the most pressing questions, the solutions to the most complex problems, and the direction for the next step are often found not in noise, but in stillness. Start small. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to complete quiet. No phone, no screens, no distractions. Sit or walk alone. Focus on your breathing. Let thoughts drift by like leaves on a stream without clinging to them. Observe your mental patterns. Notice where your attention wanders. This is the beginning of mastering yourself. The more you practice, the longer and deeper your periods of silence can become. Eventually, even amidst the chaos of the outside world, you can carry an inner calm that remains untouched. The elf also understands the rhythm of patience. Life is not a series of emergencies demanding immediate action. Most people are trapped in a cycle of reaction, constantly responding to stimuli, rarely pausing to assess, rarely allowing themselves to move deliberately. The elf, however, waits. Not out of fear, not out of indecision, but because timing is a weapon. The right action at the right moment carries far more weight than a hurried, uncontrolled response. Consider the concept of deliberate inaction. It may feel counterintuitive, but not every problem requires immediate solving, and not every conflict requires immediate engagement. Learn to discern the moments that demand action from those that demand observation. The elf observes the wind, the shifting shadows, the patterns of movement. Likewise, you observe the flow of circumstances, the emotions of those around you, the consequences of potential choices. In doing so, you act not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of it. Another critical skill of the elf is adaptability. The forest is never static. Trees fall, rivers change course, seasons shift, predators emerge. The elf thrives because they are flexible, able to adjust without losing their core values or inner calm. Life mirrors the forest. Unexpected challenges, sudden setbacks, and unforeseen opportunities appear constantly. By cultivating adaptability, you prepare yourself to navigate change gracefully. You meet disruption not with panic, but with strategy and composure. To develop this, practice intentional flexibility in your daily routines. If a plan is disrupted, resist frustration. Ask, what can I learn? How can I adjust? Train yourself to see obstacles not as barriers, but as signals guiding you toward a more refined path. Each challenge becomes a lesson in resilience, each deviation an opportunity for growth. The elf sees obstacles not as threats, but as part of the ecosystem of life. Equally essential is the art of focus. The elf moves silently, concentrating on what matters, filtering out distractions. Modern life bombards you with constant demands for attention, notifications, obligations, trivial concerns. Focus is the shield that protects your energy and allows deliberate action. Choose your priorities. Guard your time. Practice single-minded attention. Even short bursts of intense focus build your capacity to act with precision, like an elf striking with a bow at the perfect moment. Visualization is another tool of the inner elf. Imagine your goals, your challenges, and your path with clarity. Picture yourself moving through the forest of your life with grace, encountering obstacles with calm confidence, and navigating each challenge with skill. The mind cannot always distinguish between imagined mastery and real mastery. By practicing visualization, you train your brain to respond with skill, composure, and clarity when real situations arise. Discipline, observation, silence, patience, adaptability, and focus are the pillars of the elf. But perhaps the most profound quality is courage, not the reckless courage of impulse, but the quiet courage of the disciplined heart. The elf faces fear, doubt, and uncertainty not by denying them, but by confronting them with clarity and intentional action. True courage is acting in alignment with purpose, even when the outcome is unknown, even when fear whispers to turn back. To cultivate courage, start by facing small fears deliberately. Speak up when you would usually stay silent. Take responsibility when it is easier to avoid it. Step into challenges incrementally, noticing your reactions, naming your emotions, and acting deliberately. Each act of courageous choice strengthens the foundation of the inner elf, reinforcing the understanding that fear is not a barrier, but a guidepost. The elf also treasures learning from every encounter. Mistakes are not failures, they are data. They are maps to refinement. Observe what went wrong, what emotions arose, and how your actions affected outcomes. Adjust, adapt, and proceed. Wisdom is not given. It is earned through reflection and disciplined practice. In this way, life itself becomes the training ground for the elf within. Even the simplest actions carry meaning. Eating mindfully, walking intentionally, speaking thoughtfully, listening deeply, these mundane acts, performed with awareness, accumulate into a life of mastery. The elf does not separate the grand from the ordinary. Every step, every breath, every decision is a chance to strengthen inner calm, clarity, and presence. Finally, understand that the elf's power is not to dominate the external world, but to master the internal one. External events will always fluctuate, people will disappoint, situations will challenge, chaos will rise. But if your inner forest remains strong, if your calm, observation, and discipline are constant, you are invincible. You are the quiet force that moves with precision through the noise. The steady presence that does not falter when storms rage, the master of your forest. Rise, then, and cultivate the elf within. Observe, breathe, wait, adapt, focus, act with courage, learn, reflect, repeat. With each day, each deliberate choice, you awaken further. You move closer to the mastery of self, to the calm that carries power, to the clarity that guides action. And slowly, imperceptibly, the elf becomes not just a part of you, but the essence of your life, the quiet, unstoppable force that shapes your world with wisdom and precision. As the elf grows within, you begin to notice subtle changes. Decisions that once felt heavy now feel deliberate. Challenges that once provoked panic or anger now meet a measured response. The inner voice of clarity, calm, and strategy becomes stronger than the cacophony of fear and doubt. This is the beginning of true mastery, not over the world, but over yourself. To strengthen this mastery, establish rituals that anchor you to the elf's way. Start each day with intention, breathe deeply, set your focus, and visualize the actions you will take with discipline and purpose. Throughout the day, return to these moments of stillness. Observe your reactions before speaking, your impulses before acting. At the end of the day, reflect. Ask yourself, where did I act from impulse? Where did I choose clarity and calm? How can I refine tomorrow? Remember, mastery is forged in repetition. Just as the elf walks the forest daily, learning every curve of the land, you too must practice consistently. Begin with micro practices, 3 deep breaths before responding to a stressful message, a brief pause before giving feedback at work, a moment of observation before reacting in conflict. These small acts accumulate, building a fortress of self-control, awareness, and resilience. The next stage of the elf's path is intentional influence. An elf does not merely survive, they shape their environment with subtlety and wisdom. Influence comes not through force or domination, but through example, presence, and quiet authority. When you cultivate your inner calm, others feel it. When you act with discipline and clarity, others are inspired to mirror it. Your mastery becomes a beacon, not through loud proclamation, but through consistency, integrity, and the quiet power of your actions. Practice this in daily life. Speak less, listen more. Choose your words carefully, making each one purposeful. In meetings, in conversations, in leadership, allow your actions and decisions to reflect your inner discipline. The quieter your control, the stronger its impact. Like the elf in the forest, unseen but potent, your influence spreads naturally, imperceptibly, yet unmistakably. Equally important is emotional alchemy, the ability to transform negative emotions into strength. The elf does not suppress anger, fear, or frustration. They observe it, name it, and transmute it into focus, insight, or motivation. When irritation arises, let it illuminate areas needing attention or boundaries needing reinforcement. When fear rises, let it signal what matters most, and respond with deliberate courage. Each emotion becomes a tool, each challenge a stepping stone. To practice this, use the observe, name, redirect method. First, notice the emotion. Second, give it a name: anger, doubt, anxiety. Third, ask, how can I use this to act with purpose? Channel the energy of the emotion into constructive action, whether it is solving a problem, setting a boundary, or refining a skill. Over time, this transforms emotional turbulence into a reservoir of inner power. The elf also understands that mastery is not static, it requires constant learning. Every experience, every setback, every triumph is a teacher. When mistakes occur, the elf does not dwell in regret. They analyze, adjust, and integrate the lesson. Reflection is as important as action. Keep a journal of your responses, insights, and progress. Record the moments when you acted with calm and clarity, and those when impulse prevailed. Over weeks and months, this record becomes a map of growth, showing the terrain you have mastered and the areas still to explore. Silence, patience, discipline, emotional alchemy. Reflection, these form the pillars of the inner elf. But the final pillar is vision. The elf sees not just the present moment, but the path ahead. Every action, no matter how small, is placed in the context of a larger goal. Vision aligns every choice with purpose. It allows you to navigate chaos without losing direction. It transforms daily life from a series of random reactions into a deliberate, purposeful journey. Begin to cultivate vision by defining your priorities, values, and long-term goals. Write them down. Visualize your desired future as clearly as an elf envisions the path through the forest before taking a step. Let this vision guide your daily choices, ensuring that each moment, no matter how small, contributes to your mastery and growth. As your practice deepens, you will notice a profound shift. The external world becomes less chaotic because your internal world has grown more ordered. Noise no longer dictates your attention. Stress no longer hijacks your decisions. You move with intention, act with clarity, and respond with courage. The elf is no longer an idea, it is the core of your being. Now, take this further into action. Step deliberately into the moments that once challenged you. Confront the fears you once avoided. Speak the truths you once hesitated to voice. Lead not with ego, but with the quiet authority of discipline and clarity. Each action reinforces the elf within, creating a cycle of mastery that compounds daily. The journey of the elf is endless, because life is endless. There will always be new challenges, unseen paths, and hidden lessons. Yet the elf does not fear the unknown. They are equipped with the tools of observation, patience, focus, discipline, and courage. With these tools, every obstacle is navigable, every storm manageable, every choice deliberate. Rise, then, fully into your inner elf. Let calmness guide your actions. Let observation shape your decisions. Let courage carry you through fear. Let discipline fortify your habits. Let silence provide clarity. Let reflection teach wisdom. And let vision illuminate the path ahead. Every step you take in this inner forest matters. Even the smallest action ripples outward, influencing not only your own path but the world around you. The elf understands that influence begins with mastery of self. Before shaping the environment, before leading others, before creating change in the external world, the elf perfects the internal landscape, the mind, the emotions, the body, and the spirit. This mastery requires vigilance. The forest is not always tranquil. Storms come, shadows shift, predators lurk. Likewise, your life will present challenges, distractions, and conflicts. The elf does not ignore these threats, nor does it panic. Instead, it perceives them clearly, assesses their significance, and responds with precision. Awareness allows choice. Calmness allows clarity. Courage allows action. To cultivate this vigilance, develop daily practices that strengthen both mind and body. Begin with observation exercises. Watch your thoughts as they rise. Notice your emotional responses, and track your physical sensations. These are the signs of your internal environment. The more familiar you become with them, the faster and more accurately you can respond. Awareness transforms reaction into strategy, chaos into order. Next, fortify your body. The elf's strength is not just mental, it is physical as well. Engage in movement that enhances resilience, flexibility, and endurance. Even simple acts, walking with intention, stretching, mindful breathing, create harmony between mind and body. The stronger your body, the more effortless your calm becomes under stress. The elf knows that a resilient body supports a resilient mind. Equally important is the cultivation of patience. The elf does not rush. Actions are timed, decisions measured, and battles chosen carefully. In your own life, cultivate patience by practicing delayed response. When emotions surge, pause. When frustration arises, breathe. When fear whispers to retreat, observe, consider, and act only when clarity prevails. Patience allows strategy to emerge where impulsivity would falter. Reflection is the compass of the inner elf. At the end of each day, take stock. What went well? Where did you act with awareness? Where did impulse dominate? Journaling, meditation, or simply quiet contemplation allows you to see patterns, correct missteps, and refine your mastery. Over time, reflection transforms experience into wisdom, and wisdom into effortless skill. The elf also values connection with others, with nature, and with the deeper currents of life. True mastery does not isolate, it harmonizes. Relationships are approached with understanding, empathy, and discernment. Communication is intentional. Actions are purposeful. Influence flows naturally from presence, not coercion. The more you cultivate calm, clarity, and courage, the more you naturally guide and inspire those around you. Courage is refined in the quiet moments as well as the visible trials. Speak the truth when it is difficult. Stand firm when pressure mounts. Take responsibility when it is easier to avoid it. Each act of deliberate bravery strengthens the foundation of the elf within, creating a resilient core that remains unshaken in the face of adversity. Discipline, as the sword of the elf, is wielded daily. Habits form the architecture of mastery. Morning rituals, exercise, meditation, focused work, reflection, these are not chores, but tools of power. With consistency, the elf becomes automatic, responding to challenges with practiced composure rather than reactive chaos. And yet, even as the elf masters self, it remains a student of life. Learning is continuous. Mistakes are teachers. setbacks or opportunities. Observe every encounter, every failure, every triumph, and ask, what can I learn? How can I improve? This mindset transforms ordinary experiences into profound growth. Every day becomes a training ground, every moment an opportunity to refine your craft. And yet, even as the elf masters self, it remains a student of life. Learning is continuous. Mistakes are teachers. Setbacks are opportunities. Observe every encounter, every failure, every triumph, and ask, what can I learn? How can I improve? This mindset transforms ordinary experiences into profound growth. Every day becomes a training ground, every moment an opportunity to refine your craft. The forest within is not static, it grows as you grow. Your awareness deepens, your calm strengthens, and your clarity sharpens. The inner elf becomes more present, more capable, and more unstoppable. You begin to perceive life as a series of opportunities for skillful action rather than a battlefield of random chaos. Challenges are not obstacles. They are invitations to mastery. Even in the midst of external turmoil, the inner forest remains your sanctuary. Stress, conflict, and unpredictability do not penetrate its calm. The disciplined mind filters distractions. The courageous heart directs action. The awakened soul maintains perspective. Life bends not because you force it, but because you move with precision, grace, and intention. Every action, no matter how small, reinforces the inner elf. Every moment of calm, observation, and deliberate choice strengthens your mastery. You are no longer merely reacting to life, you are participating consciously, shaping it through presence, awareness, and action. In this state, you realize that the elf's true power lies not in magic, weapons, or external might, but in the mastery of self. Control over thoughts, emotions, and actions creates an internal force that cannot be shaken by circumstance. Chaos exists outside, but within, you are invincible. Rise fully into this power. Walk through the inner forest with purpose. Let every step, every breath, every thought reflect the calm, courage, and clarity of the elf. Observe without judgment. Act without hesitation. Reflect without regret. Adapt without fear. The path is yours, the forest is yours, and the elf is you, ever present, ever capable, and ever powerful. This journey is not without trials. The world will challenge you, test your patience, and push you toward your limits. Yet each trial is an opportunity, a hidden lesson waiting to be discovered. The elf does not fear difficulty. Instead, it perceives every obstacle as a teacher, every conflict as a mirror reflecting inner weaknesses and strengths. You learn not by avoiding challenges, but by engaging them with awareness, courage, and discipline. Every encounter, whether with people, circumstances, or your own thoughts, is a chance to refine the self. When provoked, pause. Observe the rising emotion. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I respond with clarity rather than impulse? These moments, repeated consistently, cultivate resilience. They train you to meet life with the poise and precision of the elf, turning potential chaos into deliberate action. The elf knows the value of timing. Not every action requires immediacy, and not every battle is yours to fight. Patience is the companion of strategy. In life, waiting is often more powerful than rushing. By choosing when to act and when to observe, you conserve your energy, sharpen your focus, and ensure your efforts have the maximum impact. Impulsive action may feel satisfying in the moment, but deliberate action builds lasting strength. In this way, the forest within becomes a place of sanctuary and insight. It is a realm where thoughts are clarified, emotions are tempered, and decisions are made with intention. Here, you can see the threads connecting events, anticipate consequences, and act with foresight. Every quiet moment spent in reflection strengthens the inner elf, creating a foundation that no external storm can shake. Discipline is your ally in this forest. Habits are the architecture of mastery. Each morning ritual, each conscious choice, each small act of restraint compounds over time, creating a life of coherence and purpose. The elf knows that strength is built in repetition, not in sudden leaps. The daily commitment to self-awareness, reflection, and deliberate action forms the backbone of a life lived with mastery. Equally, the elf values adaptability. Change is constant. The seasons shift, the winds alter, and the paths ahead are never fully revealed. By cultivating flexibility, You remain effective in any circumstance. Rigidity leads to fracture, but adaptability allows you to flow through challenges, redirecting energy where it is most needed while maintaining calm and clarity. Emotional mastery is central to this journey. The elf does not suppress feelings but observes them as tools. Fear signals what matters most. Anger illuminates boundaries. Desire indicates the direction of growth. By naming, understanding, and transforming these emotions into purpose, you turn potential vulnerability into a source of power. Every emotion becomes a guide, every challenge an opportunity for refinement. The inner elf also embraces learning as a lifelong practice. Each mistake, each setback, each encounter offers insight. The elf reflects, extracts the lesson, and integrates it into their understanding. Life becomes an endless curriculum, with challenges as the instructors and the forest as the classroom. Through this perspective, no experience is wasted, and every moment contributes to mastery. Vision anchors the elf. With clarity of purpose, each action aligns with long-term goals. You move through life with intentionality, aware that every choice contributes to the path you are carving. This vision is not rigid. It is alive, adapting as circumstances evolve, but always pointing toward growth, mastery, and fulfillment. As mastery deepens, your presence transforms. Others sense the calm, the precision, and the intentionality emanating from you. Influence is no longer a product of force, but of presence. Your decisions, your responses, your actions become quietly persuasive. You lead not by command, but by example. This is the subtle power of the elfin scene, yet undeniable. The forest within is not only your refuge, it is your forge. Here, resilience is tempered, courage is honed, and wisdom is cultivated. With every deliberate choice, every mindful action, you strengthen the core of who you are. Life's storms may rage around you, but within, you are unshakable. Rise fully into this truth. Walk through the inner forest with awareness, mastery, and purpose. Observe without judgment. Act without haste. Reflect without regret. Adapt without fear. Your inner elf is your guide, your companion, and your source of enduring strength.